Hi, this is Shep Hyken. Let's get right to it with a story about a cab driver that delivers outstanding customer service.
It was in Dallas, Texas, middle of the summer, 102 degrees, sweltering. And I just finished a program just like this. I walked out of the convention center dressed like this, had a couple of heavy suitcases, and I was in luck because up was pulling the taxi cab. Out jumps the driver. He comes around to take my bags. Let me describe to you what he looked like. Cut off shorts, a sleeveless shirt, messed up hair. Hadn't shaven in maybe a week. For all I know, he hadn't showered in a week. I look at this man and I think to myself, this is not a moment of magic. This is a moment of misery. Why? As I look at him, I'm thinking, what does the inside of that taxi cab look like? I mean, look at him. You know it's dirty and grimy in there. You know there's no air conditioning. It's probably broken. I'm going to get into this moving sauna, and 25 minutes later, I will be drenched in sweat. The suit will be wrinkled for the day, and about the time I actually get out of the cab, a little spring's going to pop through the vinyl seat and rip my pants. So I look at him, and he looks at me, and he says in this deep Texan accented voice, sounded nothing like the man that I was looking at, and I can't even get as low as he can go, but I'll try. He said, "Get in the cab. It's nice and cool inside the cab. I'll take care of the bags." And he smiled. It didn't look right. Sure didn't sound right. I looked behind the cab to see if there's a ventriloquist. Well, I handed the gentleman my bags. I opened the door, and cool air hit me in the face. The air conditioners worked just fine. As a matter of fact, it was cold inside the cab. And as I got in, the cab was spotlessly clean, and sitting on the seat next to me were two newspapers, the local Dallas paper and a USA Today, and right in the middle where the hump is, there was a bucket with ice and two soft drinks. Couldn't believe it. I had to look back to make sure the guy was still putting the bags in the back of the cab. Eventually, he gets into the front seat, picks up a dish of candy, turns around, offers me a piece of candy, and that's when I remembered what Mom always said. Don't ever take candy from strangers. This was different. I took the candy, and I asked the guy, "Is this your cab, or are you like borrowing it for the day?" And he answered me. He said, and I won't get as low as he can go, he said, "This is my cab, and you make yourself at home. The newspapers are yours to take with you at the end of the trip, no extra charge. The sodas are yours to drink, compliments of me. Have as much candy as you'd like, and by the way, it's a $22 flat rate, which is the same rate that any honest cab driver would charge you from downtown out to the airport. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride." And I thought, wow, this guy's good. We get onto the highway. He asked me a question no cab driver has ever asked me before. "Are you in a hurry? Is it okay if I do the speed limit?" Well, by that time, I was reading a newspaper, drinking a soda. I said, "Take your time." Then we start to talk to one another. He asked me questions like, "Where are you from? What do you do for a living?" We start to converse. And then he asked me if I'd ever seen the famous fountain at Las Colinas. I said, "I'm not sure." He said, and he described it to me. I said, "You know, I've seen a picture." He said, "Then you've got to see it in person." And he started to get excited. "It is right on the way to the airport. If you've got an extra few minutes, I would love to show you the fountain. Just to block off the highway, and I'm not going to charge any extra money. It's a $22 flat rate from downtown out to the airport. And it's not only the most beautiful fountain in the entire Dallas area, it may be the most beautiful fountain in the entire United States. Would you like to see the fountain?" I said, "Show me the fountain." I was getting excited. A mile or so later, he pulls off the highway, and there it is, the beautiful fountain. And he jumped out of the cab, and he pulled me out. He said, "Look at that. Is that the most beautiful fountain you've ever seen?" I'm thinking, you're strange, man. It's just a fountain. But for those that aren't familiar with it, larger than life-size statues of horses galloping across the water, and where their hooves are hitting the water, it's splashing up. And I swear, as you look at these horses, these statues, you can sense energy and motion. And if you didn't see the big buildings behind this fountain, you'd swear you were looking out on the prairie at horses running across the water. And he goes on and on about it. We're back in the cab. We're on our way back to the airport. And he asked me for a business card because he collects the cards of the people he works for. And we exchanged cards. And he said, "The next time you come back to Dallas, you call me. You let me know what time, what flight, what airline." He says, "I will be there. I won't charge you any extra money. It's a $22 flat rate. But I will treat you like a limousine driver. I will park the cab outside. I will walk inside. And when you go over to get your bags, I will be standing there with open arms, ready to help you out." He said, "Don't worry, you'll recognize me." So we get to the airport, it's $22, he gets a huge tip. And I love telling this story because it started out to be what? A moment of misery, very good, but it quickly turned into a moment of magic. Because with the exception of the first impression, he not only managed the moments of truth along the way, he created some moments of magic as well. He had the sodas, he had the newspapers, he had the candy, and that little trip to see the fountain. I mean, I couldn't wait to see what we're going to do the next time I came back to Dallas. You know, shopping at the new mall. Well, I can go on and on about Frank, but I'm going to tell you that's not the best part of the story. Now, as Paul Harvey would say, here is the rest of the story. 4 days later, I'm in my office. I open up my mail, and there's a thank you note from my cab driver, Frank. Unbelievable. How often do we receive a thank you note from a cab driver? You know, every Christmas I get a Christmas card from Frank and his wife.
This is Maria Garcia. I met her 6 years ago at the Orlando Marriott. I have been traveling back and forth across the country. I was in Miami and then Seattle, and then I was in Dallas, Texas, and then I went back to San Francisco, and then I ended up in Orlando by Friday. Exhausted, tired, midnight, hungry. First thing I do is I reach for that room service menu. See a picture of a mushroom bacon cheeseburger, which, as you know, is perfect for late night dining. So I get a Diet Coke to offset the effect. And it comes up in 20 minutes. That was less time than they said, and the picture didn't even do justice to this amazing hamburger, and the steak fries were golden brown, perfect, everything's so hot. She brought me a Diet Pepsi. And I don't like Diet Pepsi. I'm fussy about that one thing. I like Diet Coke better than, then they said, well, there's a lime, you can put a lime in there, maybe it tastes like a Diet. You can put lime, buttons, cigarettes, doesn't matter what you put in there. It isn't going to be a Diet Coke. But there was ice water. I said, that's fine, thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry, we apologize, we're out of these in the room service kitchen and big convention and something. It's okay, it's like 12:20 now, and thank you very much for bringing this, and I appreciate it. She leaves. Not even 30 seconds later, bam, 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 she's knocking on my door with a nice cold Diet Coke. So now I'm suspicious. Where'd that come from? She said, I found this 4 floors down in the machine, thought you'd like to have it. I know, I'm a grown man. I did the same thing. Oh, let me pay for that. She wouldn't take my money. Would not take my money. No, just make sure you're happy here, Mr. Schaefer. She leaves. I'm just stunned. So I get on the phone, right? Room service. Who was that woman that just delivered that hamburger? Oh, that's Maria Garcia. You know, she's amazing. I travel all the time. I talk about this. She deserves a raise or should be in charge of training. This is unbelievable what she did. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Would you mind saying something to the hotel manager? Yes, I would. I get a guy's extension. I call him. Hi. I'm staying in the hotel. I speak on customer service, and there's a woman named Maria Garcia in room service. She is unbelievable. She needs to be in charge of training. She should have put on seminars for every other hotel employee. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Would you mind writing a letter to Marriott International? You know, I was thinking of having a hamburger. But now that I'm working for you guys, I am on it. Yeah. And the truth is, I never ate that hamburger. I ate a bite of that steak fry, and the story got to me so much that I wrote that letter to Marriott International. And then I scribbled out a chapter for one of our books and created an HR training film with this scene in it. I have done everything except marry that woman, Maria Garcia. Because look what's happened from her 30-second effort down to the machine. She's created me as an unpaid spokesperson for Maria Garcia and the Marriott Hotels. I've told that to probably hundreds of thousands of people by now in 6 years. Why are we not in that business? Why are we not creating such an unforgettable experience that is emotional, that causes other people to talk about us and other people to accelerate our careers? That's the business we should be in. It's good for them, good for us. Now, I got a follow-up story to this. I go back about a year and a half after that with a book, and a tape, and some letters from clients who were inspired by that story. I can't wait to give them to her, and she's not working there now. She had left a week earlier to take another job, and the manager says, hey, but you know, you should hang on to this package and give it to her in person. You're going to run into her at some point, I'm sure. She's the new food and beverage manager at our Boston property. Yeah, any surprise? Think I was the only one who ever said anything nice about Maria Garcia? You think I ever got so much as a thank you from this woman? No. She's going to end up running that company someday, isn't she?